Hey, this is Jackson, aka Gamble,
And this is Tyler, aka FluX.
and today we are bringing you a replay between FluX, the yellow Protoss from UT, and Cheeseblock, the pink Terran from UTA.
And I will actually be playing in this game as the Protoss, the yellow Protoss up in the top left. This game is part of a showmatch series between the University of Texas at Austin and the University of Texas at Arlington. This is game 4 of the series. So far, UTA is up 2-1 on top of UT Austin. I guess UTA doesn't work because they both start with A, but Arlington is up on Austin 2-1. So this is a pretty important match for both schools, as in it is a best of 7. So, what do you think about this map, Jackson, in this matchup?
A lot of people will say that this map is very Terran favored just because of all the high ground. Easy to put tanks up there. Lots of watchtowers compared to the other maps, so lots of chances for tanks to actually exploit these watchtowers, especially with this kind of spawn. This area between the two bases is going to be very important.
Absolutely. People say that a lot, and I definitely see why. Reapers are easily abusable if you build too close to the to your choke as Protoss. But personally, I actually chose this map when I was playing. For some reason, I have a knack for Kulas. I really like the map. I like the fact that you can pressure the Terran in the choke because there's no ramp there, so you can easily bring out early stalkers and really put pressure on that supply depot and that barracks if the Terran chooses to wall off and have some good fun there. So while it is risky, I think if you play the map well, it can be very well balanced. And I was a little bit sad when they took it out of that map pool.
Right. And we do see a pretty standard opening from the Terran player. Looks like it will be a 12 racks, 13 gas. Just nothing out of the ordinary so far. Looking at the Protoss base, pretty standard so far.
Yeah, right now what I am doing, might as well commentate on myself because that for first-hand experience kind of stuff. I threw down 2 gateways pretty quickly, one at 13, one at 15, then a cybernetics core immediately at 16. This was an opening that I had practiced quite a bit against Terran to a large deal of success before the recent patch, and what it entails is getting 2 fast stalkers out and chrono boosting them. So like I said earlier, put pressure on that early Terran wall, because by that point, if you chrono boost the stalkers, you can get them out before there's too much reinforcements back there for the Terran. So, have you encountered this build before on either side, Gamble?
Yeah, I actually use it quite a bit. I do like that this is a good opportunity for the Protoss to put pressure because, it's very hard Protoss with kind of slow units compared to speedlings or ranged units from the Terran. It's hard for Protoss to get early pressure in there, and it looks like it will be very effective on this map just because the unique thing about this map is that there's no ramp for the entrance of your base, so Stalkers will be able to pick away at those buildings.
Exactly. I think that's a very good point. And we see the 2 stalkers are almost done. I have them chrono boosted, 2 popped out, and they're going to be rallied over to the Terran base pretty quickly.
And it
We
looks
see the
like
Terran player.
looks like I was gonna say looks like the Terran player is throwing down a bunker. He did so this 2 stalkers come out. He's also throwing down a factory and a starport, so it looks like not going to be too heavy on the infantry, but more of a tech build.
Yeah, it looks like that common 1-1-1 build where they throw down the barracks and immediately into factory starport, and that's
Right.
really good for either early harassment or just a solid mix of units where you can get just about a unit you need to adapt to a situation. The unfortunate part attacking, the Terran had to cut on his tech lab so that he could get that starport and factory up ASAP.
Right.
So there's no want to counter the 2 stalkers that are coming in. So it puts the Terran player in a really precarious situation, as in his starport's done, but you can't really make anything from it yet because there's 2 stalkers poking at the front door.
Looks like this is going to do a lot of damage. Protoss already picked off a supply depot, but he's picking away at this barracks. It doesn't seem likely that the 2 stalkers will actually kill the barracks, so Terran will hold this off. But I mean, it did cost him 2 bunkers and several Marines. He had to throw down a lot of emergency, protection right here that he didn't want to do.
Yeah, I think it throws the Terran off of his game a lot. You see the stalkers are pulled back just as they begin to take hull damage, so that way they can regain their shields and keep poking at the door and keep that Terran on the defensive.
Right, and that supply depot pickoff did force the Terran to use a supply on one of the supply depots in the back here. So you see that did cost him a mule.
That's a very good point. And of course, that's a more economic advantage for the Protoss player. We see 3 Hellions up in the top of the Terran base, just about to get picked up by a medevac. So we see some early. What do you think of this? I know we've seen it a bunch before in the early games, especially in Game 1. That early Hellion drop, it can be pretty effective.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, a lot of Terrans like to do it against Zerg, but we see it less used against Protoss, but actually very effective. And the Void Ray coming out of the starport will catch sight of this medevac, so looks like it will be able to deflect this drop relatively easily.
That's some really nice timing there with the Void Ray. We see the probes are moved preemptively because those Hellions can be pretty deadly if you don't handle them very soon.
I'm not sure I like this. Stacking up all the probes, letting these Hellions have an easy target. We do see, what, 5 kills so far? Stacking up these probes, ooh, that's a lot of splash damage. That's a lot of splash damage.
That was a bit of a mistake, I do admit. Stacking up the probes by pulling them all to the same area really lets those Hellions increase their effectiveness. Finally, some Stalkers heading this way to clean it up, but not without a couple losses for the Protoss player, myself, so.
Looking at the probe and SCV count, we do see that the Terran player is at 21 SCVs ahead of the Protoss 19. Usually we do see the Protoss ahead by a couple probes just because of Chrono Boost, and with the Mule on top of the SCVs, I would definitely say the Terran is economically ahead right at this point.